a lot, depends a lot on electric generator. But hey, if you can just, get Pokemon out quickly, charge them up, start attacking, sometimes that's all you need to just win games.
I'm pretty sure that's the way you win most games in Pokemon TCG.
Yeah.
Looking at the prizes here, nothing too bad. Single Strike Energy and a Lugia VSTAR on Trevor's side of things. Both players have a boss's orders in the prize cards. That might come up. That means you only have one throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think these are very interesting deck lists from both players, and we'll see it as we go through. Obviously, Trevor off of an incredible run at EUIC. A lot of the players who did well at EUIC are also doing well at this tournament. Alex, Trevor, both here trying to make another run at top 8. But here we go, kicking off round 13. We got a Miraidon EX on stream, Jeremy. Here we go. Tandem unit kicking things off.
Almost started with the fleet footing, but you always want to search for those basic Pokemon first and then draw your cards.
Look at that beautiful Mareep.
Oh, yeah. Anytime you get a feature Mareep in the line, it's always pretty good. Flaffy is a little underrepresented for how good Dynamotor used to be as an ability.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a wildly different list than the one we saw get top 8 at EUIC. That one was heavily based on, just turbo, Cram-O-Matics, just generator, just full steam ahead, a Regieleki VMAX, that kind of build. This is completely different. This has a pretty big Flaffy line. There we got the Magnezone V-Star, we got Raichu V, we got all sorts of stuff going on here. And even the trainer selection is very unique. Lots of copies of Serena, and also several copies of Arven, a card that we don't see a lot of, but hey, it searches out electric generators. So
yeah, it is essentially your 5th, 6th, and 7th copy of electric generator throughout these games. And you also get to search out something like a Forest Sealstone or even Sky Sealstone, which could come up huge in this matchup.
Yeah. Another interesting thing, Anthony does not play any Radiant Pokemon. Usually we see like Radiant Greninja as a way to discard energy and draw cards. But no, just pure Lightning Pokemon.
There's a Lightning Radiant Pokemon. Radiant Chargebug is shaking in its boots right now. One thing I love about this Miraidon deck is you can use your tandem unit to search for another Miraidon EX and then use that tandem unit again. And we see Anthony do just that. Energy on that Raikou V and pass the turn. Now we're going to start with the Capturing Aroma, which is, I hate to say it, but one of the premier search cards of this format right now.
It's one of the cards that Lugia has to play in this format, yeah. There was a debate a while. Should you play Capturing Aroma? Should you play Great Ball? Looks like most players have settled on Capturing Aroma at this point. Yeah, it's certainly a downgrade from Quick Ball that we're used to.
Or an upgrade. You can get an evolution, too.
True. You just don't get to control which one is going to be able to be searched for.
The randomness is very awkward at times, but here with the Tails, going to be searching for a basic Pokemon looking like Lumineon V might be the option. That can go grab you Professor Burnett with its Luminous sign, and that's one supporter that this Lugia deck has really just taken under its wing.
Yeah. So I think Trevor using a pretty similar build to what we saw at EUIC. There's been some debate. Now that Duraludon VMAX has come back, well, it didn't even really go anywhere, but had such a strong showing at EUIC. Now all the Lugia decks know that they have to play some sort of Duraludon counter. For Trevor, that's going to be the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. We've seen other people use Duraludon in their Lugia decks. But looks like a pretty strong start here from Trevor. Going to be able to throw away an Archeops. And I'm sure, if you've watched any streams recently, you are used to kind of the play pattern of the Lugia deck. You get the Archeops in the discard pile, you're summoning star turn 2, and you kind of go from there. But we'll see how strong Trevor's start is here.
Well, I think it's strong enough to where you don't need a Professor Burnett this turn. I think we're eyeing down Professor's Research here with this Luminous Sign.
Yep.
Archeops in hand, one in the discard already. That's an easy 2 Archeops in the discard pile.
Yeah. Now, the scary thing for Trevor is your opponent went first, already has an energy on the Raikou V. Of course, Lugia is weak to Lightning, so you pretty much have to put down a second Lugia V. Otherwise, your opponent could just knock it out, and you basically lose the game at that point. So Trevor is kind of starting off on the back foot because you have to put so many Pokemon V into play, and that's really where the Miraidon deck shines. It wants to be taking multiple prize cards with each knockout. So if you can just attack 3 times and win the game, that's going to be the best route to victory. So Trevor's going to need to find another Lugia here.
And we saw Trevor discard the gift energy with Professor's Research, maybe hoping to draw something like that V-Guard energy just to kind of help this Lugia V stick around for a little bit, or even that double turbo energy. Maybe you can even retreat.
Looks like it. This is a terrifying situation. Trevor does have an Ultra Ball, but no supporter for the next turn. So if you Ultra Ball for another Lugia V, it means you might not have a V-Star on the following turn. So just going to go with the retreat and say, I hope you do not have a way to bring up my Lugia V and knock it out. Otherwise, we are probably moving on to game 2.
Well, Anthony does play 6 ways to bring up Pokemon V on your opponent's side of the board. We'll have to see if he has it in hand. I don't think so. I don't think there's a supporter in hand.
I think there's a Serena, but we'll see. Yeah. Anthony playing 4 Serena and 2 Boss's Orders. So Lugia V is not safe.
Still have access to Fleet Footing as well, but here's the tandem unit. Going to fail to find.
Yep. And you see Anthony keeping a bench spot open. Could have used tandem unit to fill the bench at any time, but there's really no rush to fill your bench with this deck because you have tandem unit. You can always just leave a spot open and be flexible on what you're going to do.
Fleet Footing, drawing a card from the top of the deck.
Ooh. That might be the end of this game.
Serena bring up the Lugia V. This is going to put Trevor back 2 turns at least. And Anthony is on the front foot here in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's just a devastating turn 2 knockout. Yeah, if you're Trevor, all you could do is wait another turn, right? You need to get another Lugia V out now and then hope that one doesn't get knocked out. And you're basically starting the game down at least 2 prize cards. If this Tyranitar V goes down, you're down 4 prize cards, and that's not a good position to be in.
No, I'd say that's a losing position. Yeah.
Yeah, typically, yes. Do have the V-Guard energy, which can make it much harder to knock out Tyranitar V. So maybe Trevor thinking, this game is going on fast enough where I can afford to just take another turn before I scoop it up. Doesn't hurt.
I guess the one benefit that Trevor does have is drawing the Nest Ball 4 turn meant you still have that Ultra Ball in hand for the V-Star next turn if this Lugia sticks around. And there's a Boss's Orders in hand off the top. Oh, no.
Yep. When you play 6 outs to chase down Lugia V, you're going to have one a lot of the time.
Ultra Ball here, going to discard a Lightning Energy.
Yep.
Maybe a Mareep. You see it in the hand there in the back.
Yeah, you see that wonderful full art Mareep there.
Yeah, we don't want to discard that one. I don't even want to evolve that one. We'll evolve the other one.
Ooh, are we going to evolve into a full art Flaffy too? Here we go.
All right, well, maybe now you can keep the chain of the full arts going. Okay, we're good.
Usually we see Elisa in the Mew VMAX deck, but now we're seeing it on the Flaffy here, that full art version. And yeah, that's a Boss's Orders, and that's a game over.
And that is what this Miraidon deck is trying to accomplish in this metagame, is just fast KOs.
Yep. That was almost effortless on Anthony's side, right? Just, used tandem unit a couple times, just attached an energy, attached another energy, played a Serena, played a Boss's Orders. Hey, that was pretty easy.
Let's try it again.
Yeah.
Trevor really gonna hope to get a couple Lugia down instead of just the one.
Yes.
And
well, going first also helps.
Going first helps, but with Electric Generator, nothing's safe.
Very true. Yeah. If you look at this, Trevor does have the Stonejourner as a fighting type, single prize attacker. You do have the single strike Urshifu V. You have the power to fight back against these lightning Pokemon. But when your opponent gets the first knockout, and especially gets it on your Lugia V, you're starting off so far behind, it's tough to come back. So, yeah, that's just one of those games where Trevor had to look at it and say, okay, if you can knock out this Lugia, I lose. And then Anthony knocked out the Lugia.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the calculated risks you need to take. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it works out and you end up winning the game, but that time for Trevor just was on the wrong side of it.
So you're saying if a Lugia VSTAR deck does not get the Lugia VSTAR out, they're probably going to lose the game.
That is my experience, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's been the experience we've had for the past year or so.
Yeah. Also, if no Archeops ever come out,
yeah.
That's tough to win as well.
Looks like a mulligan for both players. And remember, they are sitting at 9-1-2. Still need a little bit more championship points to make it into that top 8. But a win here is going to be a lot of help.
Definitely. So game number 2 here. This, again, is an interesting build of the Miraidon deck for Anthony. Lots of cards we don't see very often. And we really didn't get to see much of his deck in the first game. He just powered up Raikou V, and that was it.
Yeah,
so
that's all you need.
Hopefully in game number 2, we'll get a chance to see a little bit more of these decks.
And honestly, with the way Anthony has built his deck, has a very good matchup against a lot of the other top tables. Top tables are all Arceus VSTAR decks.
Yep.
You have a card in here that's pretty good against Arceus VSTAR in Raichu V with its Dynamic Spark.
Yeah, this version of the Miraidon deck, again, does not play Regieleki VMAX, but does play the Raichu V to get those big one-hit knockouts. And then, you have the electric generators to get that initial burst of energy into play, but then you also have the Flaffy to keep the stream of energy going after you get that initial electric generator. So, sometimes we see the Miraidon decks fizzle out after they get their first attack and their first attacker knocked out. They might not have a response right away, but Flaffy lets you keep the energy going so you can keep attacking with your big Pokemon V and Pokemon EX.
Game 2 starting things off here. Trevor down a game against Miraidon. Starts that Tyranitar V in the active spot. A little bit easier start because you can have that Lugia V on the bench, kind of force Anthony to have the Serena or Boss's orders along with everything else.
Yep. So this is a really good hand for Trevor, but it's very terrifying. There's only one Lugia V. He's got Professor Burnett in hand and an Ultra Ball and decides to just pass. Anthony does, of course, play all those Serena and Boss's orders, but also plays 2 Escape Rope. So this could be a situation where we see, the electric generator power up a Pokemon, bring up the Lugia V, and get the knockout. And that could just be, again, a quick game over. But it's all going to come down to what Anthony's able to pull off this turn.
Prep the GLC decks because we might need to get some time back from us. But tandem unit starting things off for Anthony. Eyeing down most likely another Miraidon and that Flaffy. And we can tandem unit yet again. We see electric generator in hand to go along with it. But we're eyeing down just that Raikou V.
Yeah, I don't see anything quite yet that would allow a switch, to bring up the Lugia V. I think there's an electric generator in hand, so maybe can power up and attack this turn, but Tyranitar V is pretty beefy. I don't think there's any attack that can knock it out currently. So, but if you're Trevor, though, you're just terrified of this turn. You're just hoping you can make it through and get to play the game.
Here we have an Ultra Ball discarding Magnezone V and Flaffy. Can thin the hand down a little bit.
Yep. Anthony, looking at this and saying, this is not a matchup where I think Magnezone VSTAR is useful, so we'll just throw it away. It can be useful, for that VSTAR power that can hit 2 Pokemon, get kind of a double knockout. But yeah, this is going to be, I think, a huge electric generator and then a Professor's Research. We can still see, the electric generator power up Raikou V and then an Escape Rope. So this is going to be a very nerve-wracking turn if you're Trevor. I think we've all been here, just kind of hoping your opponent doesn't do something horrible to you, but all you could do is sit and watch.
Anthony sequencing everything perfectly to maximize the electric generator, but whiffs. No lightning off of that powerful item card.
Well, that's going to make it harder to attack this turn.
A little bit. Yeah, you kind of need energy to attack.
Yeah. I will say probably a lower energy count compared to the decks that are kind of all in on the electric generator. But still, you probably had pretty good odds to hit at least one here. The beach court will make it easier to retreat. And do we find...
4 seal stone. We got a couple energy. Serena, it's not going to do it. Boss's order's not going to do it.
Okay, yeah. I think at this point, you've pretty much given up on getting the turn 1 knockout. I mean, you could, search for one of the cards to go ahead and pull off your combo and then try to fleet-foot it into the other one, but I don't even think that works. So. We're just going to see the rear kick for 10 whole damage.
Tyranitar is unfazed.
Yeah. I mean, that does set it up for a Miraidon EX to knock it out, right?
No. I just imagine Murray just kicking the back of a Tyranitar and it not flinching at all. Professor Burnett going to start the turn for Trevor here. That's going to be able to discard 2 cards from your deck. And I think those are going to be 2 Archeops.
Go figure. Yeah, I think Professor Burnett, originally kind of intended to be used with Pokemon V Union to throw those into the discard pile, but is very good with Archeops. Just throw those 2 Archeops in, and yeah, now that Trevor has made it through that first turn, this is looking pretty good. Get the 2 Archeops in the discard, Ultra Ball for the Lugia VSTAR, and we're going to get to see a game this time.
I think we might even see a boss's orders. There is 2 supporters left in Trevor's hand after discarding double research with that Ultra Ball. It's either boss's orders or judge. And with the summoning star here, you have everything to take a knockout if you want.
Yeah. Already played the Professor Burnett, so we're not going to see an additional supporter card this turn.
No, we could play 2 supporters.
But yeah, I think a heads-up play from Anthony was not only doing the 10 damage with Mareep, but also putting up a single prize Pokemon. Now, Trevor is still going to have to take 3 more knockouts to win this game. So very smart play from Anthony. And we'll see what Trevor does. The V-Guard energy makes it awkward, but of course does not prevent Miraidon EX from doing damage to Tyranitar V. So this Mareep still does set up perfectly for Miraidon EX to take down the Tyranitar V.
Well, here is that first Primal Turbo, charging up that Tyranitar V, and the active second one will most likely get some energies onto that Lugia VSTAR, maybe a pivot on that Archeops.
You don't think we're going to see the Speedwing?
Maybe. 100 damage, that knocks out a Mareep.
We are going to see, I think, a Cragalanche, though.
Yeah.
Very fun attack name.
One of the best attack names, I must say. Gift energy on the Lugia VSTAR as well, and that is one of the special energies that you're kind of forced to play, but it's also very good in the deck. 2
lightning energy go to the discard pile. You're just powering up Dynamotor.
Yeah, what are you doing, Trevor?
All right, now, Anthony has to decide which Pokemon to send out. Seems pretty straightforward that you would want to send out Raikou V to, fleet-footed. But if that's the Pokemon you plan on attacking with this turn, you need it to be on the bench to Dynamotor 2 or Electric Generator 2. So I'm actually going to send out the Miraidon to start the turn.
You got the Beach Court, though, so if you already have everything in hand, might as well. Another Serena off the top there. A lot of gusting effects in Anthony's hand, but that is the way he has built this deck. Here we see the tandem unit.
It's a relatively low maintenance deck. All you really need are basic Pokemon, and you need to hit an Electric Generator, and then you just attach. So you can kind of afford to just use your supporter for the turn on things like Serena, Boss's Orders repeatedly. But right now, Anthony doesn't have anything great lined up.
Might have to... Oh, you got the 4 Seal Stone. It's just hiding.
So we'll see if this goes for a Flaffy or the Generator. Depends on if Anthony feels like he's got to go for a huge Miraidon attack or if it's okay to just attack with Raikou V.
I think with the Flaffy here, it might signal just a boss's orders play, Serena play for the turn, take the knockout on Lugia VSTAR.
Yep, that makes sense. You could go after an Archeops here. It probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're probably just too far behind in the prize trade if you go that route. I would imagine your best route to victory is just to try to race your opponent. Try to get it so that you get 3 V knockouts. Get the 6 prizes before your opponent can do so.
Especially when Summoning Star's already been used, those Archeops are already in play. You're kind of forced into trading prizes back and forth with a Lugia player.
All right. So let's see what Anthony does here. Yep. He's going to go after the Lugia VSTAR. And that gift energy is going to refill Trevor's hand after this knockout.
Yeah, 4 cards for Trevor here, and then a card for the turn. Going to start the turn. 8 cards in hand, and those weren't very good 4 cards. A couple energy Luminion, I guess.
Yeah, did find the Stonejourner, which I think is a pretty big attacker here. Trevor can kind of mess up the prize race here by using a 1 prize Pokemon of his own. Yeah, you can see the strength of this single strike Lugia deck once it's set up. You get all these big attackers, these single strike Pokemon. It's funny, a lot of these Pokemon didn't see a lot of play during their kind of original run, with Houndoom, that kind of engine. But turns out Archeops getting single strike energy works pretty well.
Yeah, 2 is better than 1
yes.
in most cases. Houndoom only grabbing just the 1, and you have to damage yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Primal Turbo's going to grab 2 single strike energy, put it on that Stonejourner. Second Archeop's going to put the 3rd one there, and it's doing a lot of damage. Impact energy on the active.
Ooh, and it's
go long. Yep. Both players shuffle their hand into their deck, draw 4 cards. And that's going to leave Anthony with not much.
Yeah, he does have Flaffy, so does have access to Dynamotor, which means you only need to hit 1 off of an electric generator to power up Miraidon EX to attack. But yeah, you can see at this point, Trevor is kind of taking command. I don't think we'll see Trevor bench another 2 prize Pokemon until it's time to win the game. Just playing this very intelligently, trying to figure out the best way to make sure you win without giving your opponent a chance to win.
And there is the knockout from Trevor. Discard the top 4 cards of your deck, but it is much needed because you get that massive damage boost.
I didn't see quite what was discarded. I think there was an Urn of Vitality in there. There was a Pokemon as well. But yeah, potentially some devastating self-mill there. Might have been the single strike Urshifu V.
It was the Urshifu, and there was no urns in the hand.
Okay.
So at least that's good. It's the only way to recover energies in this deck, being able to shuffle back those single strike energies. Not even the impact energies, just the single strike energies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Anthony starting the turn off. Arvin, search your deck for an item card and a Pokemon tool. Going to find that Nest Ball. Nest Ball will grab that Raikou V. A little easier to attack with the Raikou instead of the Miraidon, only taking 2 energy instead of the 3.
Yep, so, it's basically going to come down to this, right? You need to hit 1 off of the electric generator. So Anthony just going to thin out as best as possible. And here we go. 5 cards. Need to find 1 lightning energy.
Okay, we found 2. We're good.
That works.
Miraidon EX, now just a single Dynamotor or attachment from hand away from being able to take the knockout here on the active Tyranitar. And you find yourself kind of in the prize race yet again, but Trevor not having a 2 prize Pokemon in play means you're going to take an extra turn at least.
Yeah, we also saw the EXP share taken off of the Arvin, which is a nifty tool card that, again, allows you to keep up the momentum and not rely as much on the electric generator as the game progresses. So Anthony certainly has attacks lined up to win this game. It's just going to be, can Trevor close it out by denying the last 2 prize knockout? I don't think there's anything like Echoing Horn that Anthony could do to kind of cheese out the game.
Could you imagine, though, with the high count of Arven just being able to search for it?
Yeah. Yeah. At that point, you should play Pokemon Catcher, too.
Yeah. Cross switchers, maybe.
Yeah.
Urn of Vitality is going to shuffle in those 2 single strike energies, or just the one. Just the one.
Oh, yeah, there's 3 on the Stonejourner.
Yeah. Primal Turbo will fetch out some special energies to go along with it.
Yep. Of course, the single strike energy adds 20 damage to the attacks of the Pokemon it's attached to. So 3 single strike energy means that the Stonejourner is doing plus 60. Also, Miraidon EX has a weakness to fighting type. So I don't know what that adds up to, but I do know that it is a knockout.
That's just math.
Yes.
Kyle, that's just math. Gift energy on the Stonejourner means you're going to be able to just chain together these draws throughout each of these knockouts that Anthony has been doing. And a 3 energy now on that Archeops on the bench. That is an attacker that can clean up that Flaffy on the bench for game.
Yeah, this gift energy has been a huge card for Trevor in this second game. You know, early on, after the rotation happened, you know, there was a lot of indecision on what's the optimal energy lineup in these Lugia decks now. And gift energy is one that we didn't see much of before the rotation, but now it's a way to refill your hand after your opponent gets a knockout. Early on, we were seeing stuff like the regenerative energy. That's pretty much fallen out of favor, but yeah, this is just a way to make sure that after a knockout, you have the means to go get your next attacker, you know, maybe just find the game-winning boss's orders. This has been huge in this game. Every time that Anthony has gotten a knockout, Trevor's been able to refill the hand with the gift energy.
Listen, as a Regigigas fan from last format, I am very familiar with gift energy and the pain that it has caused many people.
Yeah. It's funny, it makes it so that, you know, even if Anthony were to do something like play a judge and get a knockout here, I mean, Trevor would just get to draw up to 7 cards. It's almost like he didn't do anything to disrupt your opponent's hand.
Well, after fleet footing, and I believe the energy for the turn, going to retreat to that Miraidon EX, take the knockout Photon Blaster, and with just a boss's orders in hand, Trevor would be able to take game 2 here and force this game 3 in what seems like a pretty tough matchup, at least on paper.
There is Lumineon V, so we'll see the Luminous Sign, boss's orders, and Flaffy will be the last knockout for Trevor. And we're moving on to game 3.
How you draw it up. This is what you play that single strike package for, so you can kind of help your weakness of Lugia VSTAR.
Yeah, that Stonejourner was the difference in the game. Having that single prize Pokemon, the single prize, single strike Pokemon, to get a knockout on a Pokemon V, that was the difference, or a Pokemon EX, the one that gives up 2 prize cards. That is how Trevor was able to get ahead in the final moments of the game. So just excellently played. You know, in a lot of these matchups, it's all about not benching too many targets for your opponent, and Trevor played it beautifully.
Now, the thing is, Anthony is going to be able to go first in this game 3, and that is going to matter for really just everything in this match. Being able to go first, get your Pokemon set up. Even if you miss an electric generator, you're still most likely going to be able to attack turn 2.
Yep.
And it's going to put a ton of pressure on Trevor to get the perfect setup.
Yeah, you can see this matchup is relatively close. I'd say Anthony has a slight edge just because there is that potential for the explosive turn 1 attack, or, you know, when you go first, the turn 2 attack targeting down the Lugia. But Trevor has the tools to fight back. I mean, this is not a bad matchup by any means. If you're able to set up your Archeops, you know, power up that Stonejourner, anything is possible.
Yeah, Lugia VSTAR really just does not matter. You don't need it to attack anymore.
2 electric generators.
That's not good.
Okay. Professor Burnett. Just 1 Archeops, but Professor Burnett, very important prize card potentially.
We'll have to see just the 1 of copy. And Anthony's starting that Raichu V.
Hold on. Oh, no.
Oh, I think it's only, yeah?
You can fast charge going first. You just search for a Lightning Energy card and attach it to this Pokemon, but this is a horrendous start for Anthony. You know, this is supposed to be the super consistent deck. You get a Miraidon out, you tandem unit. All it takes is any Ultra Ball, Nest Ball, a single Miraidon EX, and you can just start flooding your board with Lightning-type Pokemon. But it's just an attachment and a fast charge. That was his only play on the first turn.
Listen, if you have an Arven in hand, everything's fine. Next turn, you can get all of your Pokemon in play, and you have an attacker in that Raichu V thanks to that fast charge. Meanwhile, Trevor has Lugia V in hand. Nest Ball capturing Aroma. It's looking like an okay hand. No supporter from what I see.
Tails, he'll go get a basic.
Well, now we have a supporter. Lumineon V pulled to the front. That is going to be able to use Luminous Sign to grab a supporter for the turn. And I guess it's kind of good the Burnett's not in the deck. Maybe you're too tempted to go for it.
Depends on what else is in your hand, I guess.
Couple gift energies, the single strike Urshifu VMAX.
Looks like there is one Archeops in the hand, so Professor's research doesn't feel too bad. Like also a Nest Ball in hand. Yeah, obviously capturing Aroma is, you know, it's a coin flip card. You can't control how it's going to play out. But without Quick Ball, this is a way to get a basic Pokemon into your hand so you can use something like Lumineon V. That's something Nest Ball does not offer you since the Pokemon goes straight to your bench.
And it is a very distinctive point between the two cards as well. You just have to hope for that 50% on that Capturing Aroma to find that basic Pokemon. That's what exactly Trevor did here.
Yeah. Pretty solid start, though. Getting one Archeops into the discard pile with the Professor's research. I have to be careful not to fill up your bench too much because you need space for 2 Archeops for the Summoning Star. But this is pretty much all you can ask for.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, even better.
What a great hand here. Ultra Ball going to be able to discard a second Lugia VSTAR, second Archeops, and having the other VSTAR in hand. A couple supporters for next turn. It's looking pretty good.
Yep. Can't complain. Now, it's going to be a real awkward situation for Anthony. I mean, with no other Pokemon in hand, might have to see a situation where Anthony needs to top deck something to have a big turn. You know, you do have 2 energy in play. With a third one, you can hit for 180 with Raichu. If you hit an electric generator for 1, you can knock out Tyranitar V. I think ideally you would just do something like Boss's Orders, bring up a Lugia and knock it out. But you also need to get more Pokemon down, otherwise you're going to lose.
Yeah, otherwise you can't electric generator. You need benched lightning Pokemon to attach them to.
Oh, wow. Okay, Escape Rope is big. That's going to be a guaranteed knockout now for this Raichu V. I think Anthony has Serena in hand and just has to play down cards to just draw more cards. But that was, you know, a massive way to get a turn 2 knockout.
Yeah, and if you look at the board, Trevor was forced to play down a second Lugia VSTAR, but you also forced to play down the Lumineon V. Those are 3 Pokemon that give up 2 prizes that are weak to lightning.
Yeah, very easy. Now, Anthony deciding how many cards to discard for Serena. Do you want to dump the entire hand and draw 5 cards? Do you need to hold on to 1? Just draw 4 and hope to draw into a Miraidon EX. Looks like 4 is going to be the choice. Holding on to the Boss's Orders for next turn, and looks like maybe a Nest Ball can find the Miraidon, and things have rebounded nicely for Anthony. This is going to be an excellent start.
This Nest Ball is exactly what Anthony was looking for. Now we'll be able to find that Miraidon EX like you were saying. Tandem unit can find a couple Mareep, and we are cooking.
Sure are.
Not the Mareep. I don't know about lamb chops right now, but
Yep. Are going to see the tandem unit, though. Get 2 lightning Pokemon. Looks like Anthony favoring that Raikou V. That is the easiest Pokemon to power up that can knock out, you know, Lugia and Lumineon. So it makes sense. You can adapt to the situation, figure out which Pokemon do I need to attack with to win here. And like you said, the prize map is very straightforward for Anthony at this point. You knock out all 3 of those lightning weak Pokemon V, and that'll get you to a victory.
Dynamic Spark, discarding 2 lightning energy from the active. That's 240 damage to that Lugia V. Easy knockout. And it's up to Trevor to respond here. We already know Lugia VSTAR in hand, double Archeops in the discard. That means Summoning Star is ready to go.
All right, there is the Lugia VSTAR. And yeah, if you're Trevor, I mean, this situation doesn't feel great, right? You know you're kind of behind in the race for this game, but you're just going to do everything you can to try to prevent your opponent from taking knockouts. You use the Tyranitar V, which is difficult for your opponent to knock out. Force your opponent to have Boss's Orders or Serena every turn, plus having to power up attackers. So if you're Trevor, all you can do is, try to get knockouts, try to put up the beefiest Pokemon you can, maybe try to disrupt your opponent with Judge, but you really just need your opponent to miss a turn here if you're going to win this game.
Also, 2 copies of Collapse Stadium in Trevor's list. That is a way to get rid of the Lumineon V off of this bench. Maybe the Lugia VSTAR.
Could be huge, yeah.
And with both Primal Turbos charging up that Tyranitar V will be enough to take the knockout. There is that Judge.
Okay. So Anthony was holding on to that Boss's Orders. He's going to have to shuffle that in and draw 4 cards. Does have the Fleet-Footed as a way to draw an extra card, but hey, this could be some devastating hand disruption.
Big 4 cards for both players, honestly. If Trevor finds the Collapse Stadium here, it will really limit Anthony's options the following turns. You already see that Stonejourner on the bench, ready to get powered up in the next turn.
All right, here we go. We're finally going to get to see like a full game where both players are doing what they're trying to do.
4 cards found for Trevor. Nothing too bad. You got the Mezagoza, but you don't even really want to play that now. Professor's Research is really what you're going to rely on for the next turn.
Yeah, like you noted, no collapsed stadium here. And there we go. Single strike crush.
Right, just avoid the collapsed stadiums. All right, we're fine. You can get that energy back later. We're fine.
Overall, not too bad.
Oh,
you can discard
one of the prizes.
You can discard some pretty devastating things with 4 cards.
Raikou V for the active for Anthony here. Looking at a hand of Serena, Ultra Ball, Arvin.
Yeah, this is pretty good. You got your energy card. You got your gusting effect. You can keep up in this prize race. A little scary because, I don't know, this isn't the ideal hand. You can get a Flaffy to set up Dynamotor to power up your next Raikou V for the next turn, but you are certainly living off of what's in your prize cards plus what you draw for the next turn and maybe off another Fleet-Footed on the next turn. Anthony's going to need some help from the prize cards or the top card of his deck next turn.
Ultra Ball here is going to discard Escape Rope and Arvin.
Are there any Flaffy? Okay. I know one Flaffy went down earlier, but looks like there is another one. So yeah, this is going to be a photo finish in this game. Anthony just going to try to go around the Tyranitar V if possible. Yeah, it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, no way to boost the damage past that 220 mark.
Right.
So 230 HP on that Tyranitar V is actually pretty good here.
Yep. You could get another Raichu V later, but with the V-Guard energy, it's actually going to take 5 to knock it out, which is a lot.
It is a lot. Dynamotor, the benched energy from the hand to attach to the active. There is the Serena.
Yep.
And Lightning Rondo taking the knockout on Lugia VSTAR.
All right, down to 2 prize cards for Anthony. As you mentioned before, Collapse Stadium is still an option, and that could be a devastating one at this point. This Stonejourner is going to be the way to use a single prize Pokemon to get a knockout. If you can Collapse Stadium away the Lumineon V, there's no real easy target for Anthony to go after to get the last 2 prize cards.
Nest Ball here is going to be able to fill the bench up, eyeing down that Radiant Serena. It's just a single prize Pokemon that won't really hurt you. And I think we're just going to see Trevor thin as much as possible, trying to draw into that 1 collapse. Having the 1 prize is actually really hurtful in this game.
Definitely.
Primal Turbo, grabbing those 2 single strike energies, can charge up that Stone Journer. Ready to go for the knockout.
All right, Trevor just going to do everything in his power to make it as difficult as possible for his opponent to close out the game. Yeah, this has been an interesting matchup. You can see just lots of hard hits back and forth. There's no fancy spread damage or anything like that. It's just all direct one-hit knockouts, taking multiple prize cards and single attacks. The difference maker right now is that Trevor does have that Stone Journer, which is a single prize Pokemon that is able to take a one-hit knockout and take 2 prize cards. And yeah, Trevor thinning out the deck as much as possible, using all the Primal Turbos before the research, and is going to be looking for that Collapse Stadium here.
Giant 7 cards off the top of the deck. Collapse Stadium is needed this turn. Does not find it.
All right. That doesn't feel great.
This means just a single Boss's Orders Serena from Anthony will help him seal up this match.
Well, he does also need an energy. You can only Dynamotor to the bench. So there's only 1 energy on that benched Raikou V, so you do need an energy and a gusting effect. So may not seem like much, but 1 extra card, it's not trivial. You do need it.
Just more thinning, trying to set up for the following turn, just in case Anthony doesn't have it. You also get 2 more prize cards as well.
And yep, if you're Trevor, you announce your attack and just cross your fingers. You've done all you can at this point. Oh, we have a switch card.
That's game.
If he's got Serena, yeah, that's it, right?
Serena, switch card, Electric Generator, bring up that Miraidon. You can
yeah,
Dynamotor to the Raikou. Switch card, Serena, bring up the Lumineon V. And with that, Anthony sealing up this match against Trevor Reed, moving on to, what, 32 match points?
That's right, yeah, pretty much 1 win away from getting to the top 8. Miraidon EX